Despite the fact that it was his words, on tape no less, that landed him in his current predicament, despite the fact that the Illinois State Senate will now get to hear some of those words, courtesy federal prosecutors, and despite the fact that his lead lawyer just quit his criminal case saying, quote, "I never require a client to do what I say, but I do require clients to listen to what I say." Our third story in the countdown, Governor Rod Blagojevich still shooting his mouth off, this time the old cowboy way. A day after telling the Associated Press that the day he was arrested was to him, quote, "what Pearl Harbor Day was the United States," adding that, quote, "just like the United States prevailed in that, we'll prevail in this." The governor held another extraordinary news conference about his impeachment by the Senate in Illinois, moving seamlessly from delusion.
The heart and soul of this has been a struggle of me against the system.
From the delusion there to extortion.
If I'm removed from office, there's a whopping huge tax increase coming on the people of Illinois before summer.
From that extortion to supplication.
Allow me the right to be able to challenge the charges. Allow me the right to be able to call witnesses like Rahm Emanuel, like Valerie Jarrett, like Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr.
Governor Blagojevich contending the two Illinois Senate rules, Rule 15F and Rule 8B, prevent him from having his constitutional right to a fair trial, a claim he explained thusly.
I like old movies and I like old cowboy movies, and I want to explain how these rules work in a more understandable way. There was an old saying in the Old West. There was a cowboy who was charged with stealing a horse in town, and some of the other cowboys, especially the guy whose horse was stolen, were very unhappy with that guy. And one of the cowboys said, "Let's hang him." Then the other cowboy said, "Hold on, before we hang him, let's first give him a fair trial. Then we'll hang him." Under these rules, I'm not even getting a fair trial. They're just hanging me. Under that fact pattern I just gave you, if the cowboy who's charged with stealing a horse was charged with doing that in town, but in fact, on the date and time that he apparently stole the horse in town, he was on the ranch with 6 other cowboys, herding cattle and roping steers. And then he expects that when his day comes to go to court, he can bring those 6 cowboys to say it wasn't him because he wasn't in town, he was on the ranch herding cattle. Even if he could bring those cowboys in to say that, under these rules, under 8B, it wouldn't matter. The complaint that charged him with stealing the horse would convict him.
I'm joined now by Margaret Carlson, political columnist with Bloomberg News and Washington editor of The Week magazine. Good evening, Margaret.
Good evening, Keith.
He is the best at something. I just can't figure out what the something is. Do you know?
Well, I'm glad you played the whole thing, because otherwise people wouldn't believe that he's gone from quoting Kipling to maybe Wild Bill Hickok, and instead of saying that he's not going to sell the seat for expletive deleted nothing, he's now one of 6 cowboys at a ranch who couldn't have stolen the horse. And then it's Rule 15F and 8B. He misreads those 2 rules, by the way. He can call witnesses that the judge deems germane to the process, but he's like Sarah Palin being a victim. He is now a victim of lobbyists, lazy lawmakers, anybody who disagrees with him. And by the way, he's going to save you money if only it's back to money. He's going to save you money if you don't convict him.
And he's not going to pay a lot for that muffler. The amazing audacity, though, of the man to stand there and demand that newspapers, particularly the ones in Chicago, but really around the country, should rally to his defense in editorials. It was so convincing on one level and so preposterous on another. The whole day was. Is it clear that this was a first-rate mind mixed with, third-rate ethics?
Well, he has no emotional IQ, whatever his other IQ is. And one of the better tapes was the one in which he and his wife are using quite coarse language to fire the editorial writers at the Chicago Sun-Times and the Chicago Tribune because they'd been writing things against him. He's now calling upon them to save him from impeachment. It makes no sense. This couldn't, I know why his lawyer left. The guy is not helping himself. That old saying, if you represent yourself, you have a fool for a client. He may be proving this true.
Great at on-the-spot analysis, not so great on consistency. The other senators of the day here, Governor Patterson of New York officially picked Kirsten Gillibrand to replace Hillary Clinton today, apparently for free. So the Caroline Kennedy drama is over. Why did he pick a pro-gun conservative Democrat from Saratoga Springs, New York?
What he's done the last couple of days makes no sense, because if you talk to the people who were close to the governor, Caroline Kennedy, he decided upon Caroline Kennedy. Now, for whatever reason she decided against it, his people then decided to trash her gratuitously. This person gets him a primary for that Senate seat. Mm-hmm. She will get a primary. Congresswoman McCarthy's already announced that. Because she has a 100% rating from the NRA. Nobody has won statewide who's on the Dairy, Poultry, and Livestock Committee. You cannot do it. And Patterson's going to get himself a primary from Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo wanted the job. He completely dissed Andrew Cuomo. She once worked for Andrew Cuomo. She's no Andrew Cuomo. Now, whether he would have been good in the job, we don't need to get into, but this pick is not something that's in Patterson's interest, and the way he dragged it out and dragged Caroline Kennedy through, the press and putting out rumors now about her. If it weren't for Blagojevich, Patterson would look like the worst governor in America today.
Yeah, but again, he also has Elliot Spitzer as the everybody's on the rebound from Elliot. So, Margaret Carlson of Bloomberg News and The Week magazine, as always. Have a great weekend and great thanks.
Thanks, Keith.